Oh yeah, this just keeps getting better and better.
Hello everyone and welcome to Action RPG. I'm your host Aaron, and for today's video we're headed to the world of Diablo 4 Season 6 DLC Vessels of Hatred PTR. The fireside chat is now done. It was literally almost a 3-hour stream and tons of information was dropped. Now I want to be very clear. I'm going to cover the large overarching points of this stream. I don't want this to be a 20, 30, 40-minute video, so I'm going to give you the big meat and potatoes of the changes, and we're going to jump right into this. So, right off the bat, you're going to notice something huge. Diablo 4, the max level was 100, and it is now level 60. So the rumors were true. But what's very, very cool about this is you're going to be gaining skill points. So previously you had 50. I'm going to guess now that you have 60. So you're going to be gaining 10 additional skill points. Max level 60. Now we're going to talk about current difficulty level and what is changing. This is what's going to feel most different about Diablo 4 for Season 6 than anything else previously. And there was this funny drawing that was put up here. Basically how the game works. World Tier 1, 2, you spend 2 seconds in World Tier 3, then World Tier 4, and you run the pit. Now, the way the game is currently set is you play Helltide, then you do Capstone, then you play Helltide, then you do Capstone, then you go into Infernal Hordes, and at some point you get your Glyph XP. That is basically all of Diablo 4. And a lot of that, if you're blasting, if you're running through it, you can get it done in 2 days. We were already level 100, working on all our endgame gear on day 2, which means Strongholds, who cares? Legions, who cares? World Boss, Helltide, Tree of Whispers, Fields of Hatred, Nightmare Dungeons, regular dungeons, Pit. You have tons of these endgame systems, and you literally use none of them. It's really, really weird and interesting place that the game is currently in. That old system is out. Everything is now changing. So the way it's going to be inside of Diablo 4, it's actually going to feel a lot like Diablo 3. You're going to have normal, hard, expert, pennant, torment 1, torment 2, torment 3, and torment 4. You're going to have basically 8 different world tiers. And these are all associated by pit tiers. So you actually unlock these different tier difficulties by completing pit runs 1, 5, 10, 15, 20, 35, 50, and 65. And the maximum pit progression is now level 100. Something else that they changed is you now level up all of your glyphs inside of the pit. So you blast through all the enemies, you kill the boss. The bosses are supposed to be easier as well. And this is where you now upgrade your glyphs and unlock all your world tiers, or I guess your torment levels. And supposedly they are saying that these are going to have pack a bigger punch. So sometimes when you jump from world tier 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, you maybe feel it for a few seconds, but the second you get your ancestral gear, that feeling goes away. They're saying every single one of these you should notice. Normal to hard, hard to expert, and as you progress. Also something very interesting. Once you are in Torment 1, all gear unlocks for you. You could start getting true endgame gear. They've changed it from level 925 gear that now the maximum gear is level 800. So you can get 800 rolled ancestral gear starting Torment 1. And what's interesting about this new system as well is this is universal. So they're trying to universally get everything in line, which means when you are in Torment 1, you'll be fighting legions at Torment 1. You'll be fighting world bosses at Torment 1. You will go into nightmare dungeons at Torment 1. So there you don't have all these different systems controlling it. No more Nightmare Dungeon 90 or 60. You will just have the level of Nightmare Dungeon based upon your difficulty tier. Very different than what we have now, but it's going to feel like Diablo 3. Now I'm going to quickly allow Blizzard to break down this huge change coming to ancestral items. Listen to this.
Real quick. So you'll notice here that this item has 800 item power, which is 50 higher than the max 750 that I was talking about before. You'll also notice on the right-hand side that that is the Torment icon. So ancestral items can be found starting on Torment 1. They're going to become more frequent as you ascend Torment difficulties, but they're still going to stay pretty rare. throughout all torment levels. You'll also notice that the greater affix on this item is highlighted. That is because now whenever you find an ancestral item, they're always going to have one greater affix. They can roll with more, but they will be guaranteed a single one every single time.
Okay, I'm going to pause it right there. When it comes to gearing now, you have normal items and ancestral. That is it. So all that other stuff in between is now officially gone. So when you're actually fighting enemies and you're going through the normal progression, anytime you see an item on the ground that has a greater affix, you know you have found an ancestral item. And of course, it can go from 750 up to 800, which is the new maximum item power. So now let's talk about the Paragon system, because this has been completely changed. Starting off, your glyphs used to be max 21, now it is level 100. You also again level your glyphs through the pit, not nightmare dungeons. And you no longer use experience. You now level your glyphs based upon the rank of the pit. Let me illustrate. Guaranteed success if 10 pit tiers difference or more. Bonus ranks if 20 pit tier difference or more. So let's just use for example this picture here. Legendary Glyph Spirit, level 50. If you wanted a guaranteed upgrade on your glyph, you would have to beat a pit 60, because that would be 10 levels higher. Now, if you beat a 50 or a 45, you still have a chance to upgrade it, but it's like the Diablo 3 system, or maybe like honing from Lost Ark. There's a chance that it will not be successful when you go to upgrade it. And then you get bonus ranks if it's 20 tiers or higher, which would mean you beat a pit level 70. So that is completely new. Also, every single glyph, once it reaches level 46, it now turns into a legendary glyph, and it actually makes it even bigger. So you gain one more ring around said glyph, so it has more area, and you can now only have 5 Paragon boards. And you can now have an additional 100 points. I know, that was a ton. I'm going to say that all one more time to recap. Glyphs have moved from level 21 to level 100. You level them in the pit. You have to successfully level them by beating pits that are 10 levels higher. Once your glyph reaches level 46, it turns into a legendary glyph. It adds a legendary bonus, and it gets even bigger. You used to be able to earn 200 points on your Paragon. You can now you can have up to 300 points, and once they turn legendary, they gain one more ring in radius. Huge changes to Paragons. So now let's talk tempering, which they continue to change and fine-tune every single update, which is actually really good. So when it comes to weapons, they made it where chance to deal double damage and chance to hit twice have been added as a new recipe. They have also switched out size and duration and moved that to utility, and tempering recipes are limited to 4 affixes. They actually want it to be 3. They said a majority of it is 3, but the maximum they will do is 4. So these are nice little changes for tempering. Now let's talk about skill trees, because every single skill tree is getting an update in the game, and I am not going to go through all of them because that would make this video longer than it already is. So just know if you want to go watch the stream or check out the patch notes, I will link them in the description. But this is basically what's happening. Every single character in the game is getting, every class is getting a new skill and a new keystone passive. They're getting new legendary aspects, and they are getting new uniques. So if your favorite is Barbarian or Druid, you could check all that in the patch notes. I don't plan on covering it here. But of note, you should know that ultimate skill ranks now are going to have points you could put into them. So normally you could only put 1 into it. Now it will have 5, just like every other skill, which will up its damage and bring down its cooldown. But Blizzard wanted us to know if you were wearing a Shaco or something that gives all to skills, this will not unlock, so you could have multiple ultimate skills. You will still only be able to equip 1. Blizzard is adding 2 new mythical uniques into the game, a chest and helmet. The chest basically will allow you to gain stealth even though you are not a druid or a rogue, so that is pretty cool. And the helmet is very interesting, so it gives the core skills. It gives you hatred. Give into hatred and earn Lilith's favor, increasing your damage by 60% multiplicative. But this is what's really interesting. Slaughter enemies to briefly steal Lilith's favor from nearby allies. If you and a party member are both wearing this helmet, you can, or I guess they can, steal 60% from you or you from them, gaining 120% multiplicative damage. So then they would go to 0, you would go to 120, and vice versa. Very different kind of item. Last but not least, the big reveal at the end of the stream. The rumors are true. Runewords are coming to Diablo 4, and they are a little different than what we've seen in Diablo 2. But ultimately, any two-socketed items, and helmets are now two-socketed, so helmets, pants, and weapon, you can now have a rune word on it. And ultimately, this is going to be where one kind of generates what you need, and then the other one, you get what the rune word actually gives you, whether it's boosted damage, boosted critical strike chance. But what they showed at the end here, which is the slide that most people were excited about, is you can now share skills across classes. So for example, like this rune word, invoke the barbarian's enhanced war cry. So you can now use enhanced war cry on a different character. Teleport on a different character. Petrify. Very, very smart and interesting idea where now classes will be able to share skills. Now, I think it's important to give credit where credit is due. Season 6 DLC Vessels of Hatred. I know a lot of people say that all this stuff they're introducing into the patch should have already been in the game. And I'm not disagreeing with that premise, okay? That being said, if you're looking pre-season, Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, Season 4, and Season 5, this Season 6 is as big, that has as many changes than literally all of those put together. This is an absolutely massive change to the game. This is going to be the true version of Diablo 4. We'll have the levels, we'll have the Paragon boards, we'll have the itemization, we'll have the progress, we'll have basically 8 different world tiers. We're going to have new endgame mechanics, new area, new map, new class. And obviously this isn't a sponsored video. I, again, just want to say it's important to give credit where credit is due. I haven't played PTR. I haven't experienced anything of the Spiritborn, at least through Blizzard's communication. This Season 6 looks incredible. I mean, it really does look pretty damn good. So, again, we'll jump into PTR this coming Wednesday and see how everything feels. I'm sure based upon how many changes are actually coming, it might take a season or two to get all of that ironed out. But when you talk about pedal to the metal and trying to make Diablo 4 the game they want it to be, I mean, it looks pretty good. They also said at the end that Season 6 DLC will also have a seasonal mechanic, which means everything they have shown, there is still going to be a seasonal mechanic on top of that has not been revealed yet. So we're going to see that as we get closer. We're about 5 weeks away from up and coming Season 6 DLC Vessels of Hatred. So that's all the information. I want to know your opinion. Are you willing to give Diablo 4 a shot, or is it D4 bad? I will never go back to it. Everything you saw today, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please join the Discord. We're approaching 4,200 members. We do a game giveaway every 2 weeks. We're the unofficial voice chat for Last Epoch. Awesome place to hang out. Check out the Discord, and the best way to support is always Patreon. We just finished movie night, and we have game night coming up next week, where as a community we'll be playing V Rising. First link in the description is for Patreon. I'm done. Hopefully you were entertained or at least learned something. Aaron, out.